Welcome back, folks, to another little episode of Whitebeard's Kitchen. So what I'm doing today is what's called a Chemmeen prawn curry. What I have in here is roughly about 4 to 5 tablespoons of coconut oil. So I'm just going to add in now a pinch of mustard seed, a teaspoon of fennel seed. So get that in, and then add another teaspoon this time of fenugreek seed. Okay, so that's that in. Once I hear that beginning to pop, I'll add in onion. Well, in this case I'm not using onion. It could be a mixture of onion and shallot. I'm using shallots. I can hear these beginning to pop ever so slightly now. So there we are. So that's half a cup then of shallots in. So give this just, had it on high heat. So I'm going to turn this down to a medium high just to get things moving a little bit. Get some of the fragrance of the fenugreek seed and the fennel seed, and as I say, it was only a small pinch of, it was black mustard seed I put in, any mustard seed, and that, by the way, is optional. So I'll get this just kind of translucent, and then I'll take you to the next stage. Just now as the onions are cooking, I should say, I'm going to say shallots, please, so if you hear me say onion, what I mean is shallots. So I'm just going to add in roughly about a tablespoon of curry leaves. If you can get the fresh, great. As you can see, nut onions, shallots have been very finely chopped as well. Nothing like, you know, prawns or any fish dish having large chunks of onion the way you would have in a curry, and you would cook it obviously a lot longer to break it down. So I don't have fresh tomato. So I'm putting in the equivalent of 2 large fresh tomatoes, which is roughly probably 200 grams of just chopped tomato, which I have actually drained. I'll just give this a little stir and mix to make sure that the shallots are, and note the word I've emphasised, shallots. You could make this, as I say, that 200 grams that I put in of shallots, it could be a mixture of onion and shallot. Entirely up to you. As I say, I have lots of shallots kicking about, want to use them up. So as I say, still have this on a kind of a medium to high heat now, and just stir this around, make sure that I can get some of the flavour going through the tomato and vice versa. So again, I'll be back in probably about 4 or 5 minutes. Now what I'm going to put in is very roughly sliced garlic cloves. So I have 4 large garlic cloves there. You know, add in, you know, don't overdo it. But so I would say 4 large is ample for this. And if you want less garlic, you know, that's entirely up to you. You know, get a recipe to suit your own taste. But this is the basis of this Chemmeen curry. Okay, so we'll stir that in and stir that for about a minute or so, just to cook through the garlic. It is in reasonably decent size sliced pieces, as you'll see, so probably maybe 2 minutes on this one. Okay, so we're back and the garlic is cooking nicely, so I've now reduced the flame to low. What I'm now going to do is add in the spices. So the spices that are very basic on this, so what I have going in is a tablespoon of coriander powder, 3 tablespoons of Kashmiri Chilli Powder, and half a teaspoon of turmeric powder. So put those all in, and obviously make sure that you always turn your flame down low. What you don't want to do, you want to bloom your spices, you know, if they've been a wee bit damp, maybe sitting somewhere, so in a jar, or even if you have them in the packets, you don't want to burn your spices. So just give it, I'm going to give this a nice mix through, make sure that the spices are incorporated with the onion, with the shallots. And here said that word onion again, good God. What I don't have in this dish, and people please do look at the description, there is no ginger in this particular recipe that I'm doing. So I just want to get this nice and mixed together. So that is just working out absolutely perfect for me. That's it, nice and thick. You can see that all the spices now, I can smell those coming through, they're not burning. I have it on a very low flame. So the next stage, I'm going to add in some it's tamarind paste. If you have the juice of tamarind, well actually this one's a tamarind sauce, but even that it would still be quite strong. So there's 2 tablespoons of that I have here, and that's just mixed through with a tiny bit of the tomato juice, which I had drained earlier. You can just mix it with water if you wish. So I'm just going to pop that in now as well, and I'll turn this back up to medium-low and just mix that through. I'll be back again in a few moments once I have this mixed and it's incorporated again into all those spices. Constantly stir this, by the way. Don't walk off and don't leave this once you've added in your tamarind water or tamarind juice, whatever you wish to call it. Do not walk away. Give us a good stir. That is just coming now to a lovely consistency that I want. The next step is hot water. Add in this size of a cup. So I'm going to add in just 2.5 cups. If you're using the American cups, probably about 4 of those. So there we are. So this is my Black Sabbath mug. I don't know whether you can see it or not. Well, how disappointed am I, just as a digression. So give this a good stir through. That I didn't get tickets, surprise, surprise, for their finale, where it's the whole group, you know. So anyway, been following them for 53 years, good God, and they're now coming back with a concert in Birmingham called Back to the Beginning, and this time it is the full group again. So there we are, treat for anybody who's got tickets, and I'll not repeat what I would like to call them, but anyhow. So I'm going to give this a really good stir, and then I'm just going to let it again sit on. I'm going to put it to a medium high, okay, and I'm going to let it, without any lid on, I'm just going to let it come up to a bit of a boil, and then turn it down to maybe medium and let it just simmer for maybe 10 minutes or so. While I was away, I turned the heat up because I wanted the water that I'd put in to reduce. Normally I wouldn't put as much water in as I showed you there. I did it because I had to disappear and do other things. So I have reduced this now, as you can see. The next step is I'm putting in, ideally we can get proper coconut milk from a coconut, but again, good old Northern Ireland, we don't have it. Putting in here 300 mils of full fat coconut milk. You know, you want to get some flavour of coconut in this dish, so therefore I would not recommend using the light coconut milk that you get, because basically it's coconut milk just reduced with water. Fine if you're stretching to do something else that doesn't need that coconut flavour. This recipe definitely does. It's from southern India. You may do use coconut. I'm just going to add now just a half teaspoon of salt to this, and then I'm going to cover this partially and put it on a medium flame. So there we are. So just going to add in, just actually put in a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I don't want to ruin it. So if you want more, you don't even need to use salt in this if you don't wish. So I'm just going to give this now a mix round while try and get the coconut milk totally infused with the masala. And now we'll have this coconut Chemmeen curry masala. I'm going to turn this to medium and cover it, as I say, cover the pot, not fully, because I want it obviously to, you know, thicken. It is quite runny. I would think it's certainly that wee bit thicker. All being well, this will stay like this for me. Yep, it does. So my good rock pot. There we are. I'll be back in maybe about, I'll let this cook for about 20-25 minutes just so the flavours infuse. Well folks, this is reduced. It's reduced a wee bit too much or much more than I wanted. Not much more, but a bit more. So I'm just going to add a taste of water, and I was away doing another job, so there we are. So I've just popped in there a green chilli. So I've just slit that in two, so I'm just going to give that a bit of a whirl. I've left the seeds in, so just to add now some water, putting in, what do we see, about maybe a cup of water, or 3/4 of a cup, and there we are. So just give that a whirl round, and I have it on a very low heat. I'm going to turn it up ever so slightly, and it's also on a small ring, a gas ring on my stove top. So I've kind of got it about a medium on that, but it's not still very low compared to the size of this pot. So we'll just put the lid on and let that do. So you can see obviously the oil has now come to the top, and yes, it is oily, because you know it is reasonably oily. Remember the amount of coconut oil that went in. So now to put in, these are king prawn. So I'm putting in about 700 grams, maybe 750. I'm going to do those on a low to medium heat. I'll give it a wee stir first. Make sure all the prawns are coated in the curry. So there we are. So as I say, put that on kind of a medium heat and the lid back on. So in this pan here, small pan, I have 1.5 tablespoons of coconut oil again. So what I'm going to do is I have about 8 small shallots. I have those as finely chopped as possible. And I like my garlic, so you don't need to do this. This garlic bit is optional. I have 1 clove of garlic chopped through that as well. And just a small number, just a pinch I would say, of curry leaves. Mine are dried. Wish I definitely did have the fresh for this part, but unfortunately, hey ho, it is what it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook this on a medium to high heat. I just want to try and get this cooked as quickly as possible. I kind of want just to soften the onion, I've said it again, shallots. I'm going to get this right, shallots. So, and please do forgive me where I've said onion during this video. I've had it crack myself millions of times. Anyhow, check out the description, you'll see what I'm using. Right, so I'll come back when those are ready. So that little shallot mixed with a little bit of garlic, that is definitely optional and not how I've seen it done, but that's just me. Always remember that. I'm just putting this into, and that tiny taste, sorry mate, as well of Kashmiri Chilli Powder. So just putting that in. Going to let that continue to cook. I'm not going to stir it yet. So when it's near ready, I'll just give that a bit of a stir. So it's on, as I say, on low heat. Just waiting on my rice stone, and that's it. I now have this on again, still low heat. I am just going to temper, this is what this is called, with that shallot, that tiny little bit of garlic, remember that's totally optional, and those curry leaves. And I'm just going to mix that through, and I'm going to say probably about another 2 to 3 minutes, and that should be the prawns nicely cooked, because I have cooked them on a low heat rather than blasting them, making them like rubber. I hope they aren't. Anyway, one can't tell with the colour of this sauce, but yeah, they're cooked. Here we are, the taste test for this Chemmeen prawn curry. Actually, and another name for it is Kerala prawn curry, because that's the region where it comes from. So just another name. Here we go. I'll take a prawn. Got the prawns done, that they're not bouncing off the wall, so the prawns are cooked properly. It is a bit spicy, but not overly, it's not blow your face off, because it was Kashmiri Chilli Powder that was used. It's creamy because of the coconut milk. I think that extra little bit of tempering at the end certainly has lifted it to another level. Definitely try this, this is wonderful. And there is that taste, slight taste of sourness with the tamarind. From Whitebeard's Kitchen, look after yourself, family and friends. Hope you like the video. Do try this. I'm going to say, rock on. Bye for now.